Guys, welcome to Picksburgh. This is Anthony. With me, I got Chef Marte under sportscards. We are on the road to Uniontown.
Keep left at the fork. Follow signs for US 119 Greensburg.
As you can hear, we're on the road to Uniontown, Pennsylvania, and we're going to a card show. So, Chef, we wanted to talk some cards. We were actually talking cards, and he was like, man, we should just do a podcast. I was like, man, we should just record and talk cards right now as we drive to the card show, because that's what we're doing anyway. So we wanted to share our card conversation with you guys.
I'm from the city is due. I'm from the city is due.
So, Chef, you had a really hot take, man.
Yeah, so I've really been thinking a lot about this market. I don't know how much you guys know, but I've been slinging cards left and right, whether at, a couple of the local shows or my eBay business has done very well. But I kind of had a thought, and I've seen a lot of things on YouTube, social media. Is the market dying? Why are card prices dropping? Things like that. And really, I kind of have been thinking about it, and I feel like it really boils down to the way that we price. Because if you think about it, every single thing's a depreciating asset, and it's all based upon the comps. Because realistically, with the comps, you set a price, and then the next person looks at it and they're like, oh, well, this just sold for $100. Let me get that for 90. And they do it. Okay, so the next person lines up. Okay, well, the last sold was 90. Let me get that for 80.
Yep.
And obviously, if a player does something good, like, Jokic, for example. Jokic cards obviously went up after the championship. But by the start of next season, I would be willing to bet they're going to be close to where they are now. There's high points and low points. For example, I've been having a lot of luck selling Ellie De La Cruz right now. But one big thing to consider is hype is so much stronger than production in a lot of these cases.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So like I give an example of Brock Purdy. Okay, Purdy was good last year, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But, for his cards to be going for so much more, I mean, they were going for Burrow level prices, if not higher.
He jumped Kenny Pickett, and he was like literally the last player in the draft.
Yeah, I love Kenny Pickett, so I can't hate. I've been buying a fair amount of his stuff. I actually think he's a great value. But, with all that said, the odds that Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, is going to have that type of career. I mean, I real early in the football season this year, I bought a box of Panini Black, and I hit a Purdy rookie out of 35. I sold it for what I consider to be a pretty insane amount for that card.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just don't see, how that's going to work. You look at Julio Rodriguez, for example.
Yeah.
He right now, he's batting about slightly under 240. The home run numbers are looking good. Those type of numbers are good. But, I mean, you see the sophomore slump and how much his cards have depreciated. And, he's still one of the best young players in the game. You look at Bobby Witt as another example.
Yeah.
Sophomore slump, his cards have plummeted. O'Neal Cruz with his injury.
Yep.
So with all this said, I guess, just getting back on track, whenever your pricing system is automatically built to drop, it's not, this isn't 1990. We're not relying on Beckett's, for example.
I wish we were. Imagine if we literally had Beckett still, where we could literally go, okay, this is a Joe Burrow mosaic pink camo, and boom, that's $50. You know what I mean? Like $50 is $50. If we want to go 45, cool, but at least the basis is $50.
Well, that's it. But right now, I mean, realistically, is there one authority you would trust to price your cards right now?
No.
That's exactly it. I mean, so everybody does it on the eBay sales. Well, you get one auction where, let's say they have it ending at 8 a.m. It's going to screw up the price of that card.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Or one guy who's like, you know what? I don't even want to do this anymore. I don't care. Yep. I just want to get out of the game.
Yep.
And all it takes is for that person to list it on eBay at a price that's already 20% under comps, just to liquidate.
Yep.
So you're literally one person can affect an entire market for a card. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what sucks, man. Like, especially with a lot of these consignment services right now. Like, no shade on them because I've done consignments in the past on my eBay as well. But, like, for example, like Darius Garland, like paralleled rookie cards you can get for under $10 on eBay. So it's like, how is that an under $10 card?
That's it.
You know what I mean? Like, it should not be. But with the way people liquidate, you know what I mean? And with the auction pricing, it basically is.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, you know, again, it comes back to hype is more valuable than production.
Yeah.
So Darius Garland, who in my mind is probably a top 10 point guard in the league.
I agree.
You know, being able to get his parallels and things as cheap as you are, you know, you look at it from another perspective. Then you have like the Keegan Murrays and Shaden Sharps and, you know, the rookies from this year's class.
Yeah.
And no shame on them, or no shade being thrown on them, but Garland is proven.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
for
Garland
sure.
is someone who, you know, he's put up production in multiple seasons. He's a damn good player.
Yep.
But again, you know, it's just, to me, it's the hype is more valuable than the production.
Yep.
Which honestly has made me really change the way I buy and sell. I went very Bowman heavy, and that's paid huge dividends.
Yeah, you've been crushing it with Bowman.
Yeah, dude, and it's simply because of the hype. People want the hype.
Yeah.
The Ellie Dela Cruz of the world, you know, looking at the newest set, you know, you got your Drew Jones that, I mean, what, they had like a $250,000 bounty on his super fractor on it?
It's insane, man.
It's insane, man. Now, the guy took the offer, and I absolutely would have, because let's be real, I mean, how many super fractors are going for $250K?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, obviously there are exceptions, but, you know, by and large, I mean, he's spent most of the last 2 years injured.
Yeah.
You know, so I guess one big thing I'm taking from this market is mitigate risk. So, like, if I have, like, for example, the last show we were at, I traded it. I pulled this actually at Sports Card Junction. Shout out. I pulled a Julio Rodriguez redemption auto. It was a rose gold out of Sterling.
I remember that.
And it was out of 15. And I sent it in the PSA. It came back at 10. I actually, I had about a $2,000 value on it. And at this last show, this was just, what, a week ago?
Yeah.
I took that card and I traded it for like 10 raw cards, each one comping around $200. I mean, there were 2 Tamar Johnson autographs from Bowman's Best.
Yep.
I think one was 70 out of 75, one was out of 50. An O'Neal Cruz finest auto. There was a Drew Jones out of 99 auto.
Nice.
It was a really nice order. So I'm taking that same order and I'm sending it to PSA. Now, assuming that typically the way I've noticed PSA is you're looking at probably 40% 10s, 50% 9s, and 10% under 9.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at, I'm probably going to get 4 10s, I'm probably going to get 5 9s, and I'm going to get one that basically is, you know, lower than that I'm going to take a little bit of a loss on, I'd say. So, you know, I took that $2,000, essentially I spread out my risk. Now the 10s on a $200 card, I'm probably going to get between $500 and $600.
Yeah, for sure.
So you spread out that risk a lot more. I think that's probably where, you know, the sweet spot of the market is right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because most people aren't buying multiple $1,000 cards or even $1,000+ cards. You know, for me personally, like if I'm going to buy a card like that, I have to like literally liquidate multiple like big cards to like make that like something that I would normally do. You know, so I think that yeah, there are some people that like have that type of money where they could literally just drop 1,000 here, 2,000 there, or you know, maybe even more. But I think the lion's share of the people that are buying on eBay are probably in that like $50 to $200 to $500 range, somewhere in there.
I've done very well on the $50 to $200 range. I've also done very well in that $300 to $500 range.
Yeah.
And to be fair though, honestly, I've done better on the higher end market, but I've also had, like, for example, like a Tom Brady 101,
Yeah.
a Shohei Ohtani rookie SP from Chrome,
Yeah.
and an Ellie Dela Cruz auto out of 50 from Inception. So those cards, whenever they are in demand, yeah, I'm getting good dollar for them. But again, this card market is so much right player, right card, right time.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and that's really, you know, if you're strategic and honestly very lucky, you can do pretty well in this market. But, you know, by and large, you know, it's hard for me. I'm very much so, I try to sell top of the market, but To do that, you really have to have a lot of cards, and thankfully I kind of have a large collection, so that's very much so helped me.
Yeah, you have a ton of cards.
Yeah, just a couple. But, you know, it's hard for me because it's like, where do we go from here? You know, you're already seeing PSA's doing, what, 40K a week in grading?
Yep, something like that.
So, you know, and out of that, let's say out of the 40K, let's say 40% roughly is 10. So that breaks down to about 17, 18, I don't know. I'm doing math off the top of my head. It's probably not accurate. Maybe 50,
you're breaking my brain right now, dude.
But even still, like, you know, we're going to see a true just flood of slabs in the market. I mean, you're already seeing it. Look at the values of, you know, you can find PSA 9 sometimes under raw pricing.
It's insane, dude.
Whenever the majority of a PSA thing is going to be a 9.
Yeah. Is it just me, or do you feel like it's been the ultra-modern market that's really taken the big hit with this type of pricing, as opposed to, like, the older vintage cards?
Oh, 100%.
Because I don't see this happening with, like, Mickey Mantles or Clementes, or, I mean, maybe Jordans, just because there's a million of them, and, like, you know, they're transacting so often. You know, or maybe like a Kobe Bryant, because there's like a gajillion of them and they transact a lot. But like for the most part, like the true vintage stuff that is like, you know, 70s and older, I don't really see this being that much of an issue with, as far as the up and down fluctuality of the actual pricing and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's definitely more of an ultra modern issue. Because realistically, I mean, think about it. It's not like you're going to, you know, see an influx of, you know, a 55 mantle coming into the marketplace. Like, you know, you might, maybe someone gets lucky, finds like a grandpa's old collection in an attic or something. I don't know, but it's not like they're, you know, like, just like you look at some of these classic cards, there's one rookie.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
And I mean, look at it, for example, you know, just Julio Rodriguez. How many different rookies do you think were out there right now?
God, I don't even know. Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't. I would, it's minimum of hundreds, but my assumption would be thousands.
If you guys know, leave them in the comment section. I'd be curious to find out how many Julio Rodriguez rookies there are. Yeah,
and then even taking it a step further, he has Bowman cards from 2019 to 2022.
True.
That were, you know, some of them were the first, but it was a lot of the prospect cards and things like that. So there's just such an overwhelming amount of his cards that if you don't have either A, something rare, or B, something auto, or C, something with the first logo on it from Bowman.
Yeah.
You know, really, you're sitting on a card that's kind of, you know, just mid. I mean, honestly.
Sure.
Like, look at, okay, I SGC ran a special a few months back whenever Topps 2023 Series 1 dropped.
$9?
Yeah, and you know, I sent in a bunch of stuff because honestly, I did it like right when they announced everything.
Yeah.
I grabbed a couple jumbos and sent in. You know, I had the Adley rookies, the Henderson rookies, pretty much all the big name rookies, and it was mostly base. But I sent in, you know, a bunch of them. I was getting about $40 a pop because I was one of the first few listings on eBay. But now that same card, if you get the amount you put into grading for it back, you're doing okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, really, what was the point? And there's another thing right there. SGC right now, I love SGC.
I do too.
I think SGC is the most accurate grading company. You know, say what you will about the look of the slabs, whatever. I'm personally really not concerned about the look of a slab.
I like the look of their slab, personally.
I like it for vintage. Ultra modern, it's hit or miss for me.
There's certain cards that look really nice in
I'll
it, but
agree
then
with that
certain
too.
cards that just... But yeah, you're right.
So, you know, with SGC, there's another really great buy right now. I can tell you, I had a strategy where I was buying SGC 10s and transitioning them into PSAs.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, for the most part, the grades were very accurate.
Oh yeah, SGC.
You know, like for what they crossed over to PSA, I was pleasantly surprised when I've done that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that, you know, just getting off on another tangent, I think there is a market for buying cards from other graders and cracking them, as long as you know what you're looking at. You know, I just think right now you have to be creative in this market to really profit.
Yep.
Because, again, everything is a depreciating asset. first to market. I'll tell you right now, I've done very well with the stuff I pulled. I bought a few Bowman Megas from 2023, and I've done pretty well on those. I mean, I've at least broken even on every single box, which is really saying something in this market. Because how many Panini boxes have I bought in my life where I've just lost my ass?
Dude, like literally watching you rip Panini is a large part of the reason that I don't buy very much wax. And if I do, it's definitely something oddball and usually not Panini.
Yeah.
Although now they have the wrestling license, so unfortunately I have to buy them sometimes.
Yeah, and
But-
you know what though? The cards look great. And honestly,
oh my god, they do.
from
Yeah.
what I've seen, they've been putting decent enough value in their wrestling boxes. I've actually been pleasantly surprised anytime I've gotten a wrestling box.
Their wrestling stuff seems to be better than like their regular stuff. I don't know if it's because maybe there's less people or whatnot, but I mean, even like what they're doing as far as like the inserts and stuff and changing them to be like for example, this Revolution one, they have an insert
So nice.
that they change to finishers or something like that, and then they literally have it like stylized to like the actual person's finisher in the card. It's pretty cool.
They also got the kabooms in the Revolution now.
They do, and some of them look insane. I saw Junction hold a Cody Rhodes.
Nice.
It looked nasty.
I saw somebody got, I can't remember, it was on social media, but somebody, they bought a box and they pulled 2 kabooms from the same box. They got the Brock Lesnar, and the one that I loved was the Andre the Giant. I thought that was so cool.
That is sick. Yeah, I like that they have both, modern people and like OGs, like as far as what you can get kaboom wise. That's really cool. Like, I don't know how much I'd like that in other sports, but in wrestling, I really like that.
Now see, it can work though, because but there's a catch. Okay, so like for example, Topps does the home field advantage cards. You know, the case sets that they have. They do it for the regular players, but they have certain sets that have like some of the Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Now what they've done for that is they're super short prints.
Okay.
So like for example, the Derek Jeter Card Castle in Cranberry. Shout out to Jeff, who's the man. They had a Derek Jeter, and it was over $600. Now, to put that in perspective, I sold the Julio Rodriguez rookie home field advantage for like $150 last time I sold it.
Oh wow. Yeah,
So
that's crazy.
it's a way shorter print, so it's a true chase card.
Do you feel like Topps does that and Panini doesn't though? Because like,
Yes.
if like for example, like you were pulling a downtown of like Joe Montana, that's going to sell for significantly less than a downtown of Joe Burrow.
Correct.
You know what I
And
mean?
it makes sense, honestly. I mean, to me, that would be the move I would do, is I would short print the heck out of it.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
But I can tell you Panini doesn't do it because they have the downtowns and the Donruss baseball product, at least the last few years. And, the Hall of Famers in that were not going for, I think I sold a Bryce Harper for $180 or something like that.
Damn.
And I sold, I think it was a Jimmy Fox for like $75. $75. Anyone watching the Home Shopping Network back in the day knows about that.
Oh yeah. That was the ish.
It really was.
Yeah, man. So that's a lot of really hot takes, man. Any other like things about the market right now that you're noticing that you wanted to address in this video?
Yeah, I think you're going to see a very interesting football product this year because, if I'm not mistaken, Bryce Young and CJ Stroud have both signed exclusive with Fanatics.
They have, yeah.
So that should mean I believe that there wouldn't be autographs in the Panini products from them. Is that correct?
Correct.
Even you look at this year's Select. How do they do that with the XRCs? Because a lot of them say QB1 on the redemption or whatever else, but with those two signing with Fanatics, that kind of changes the game. And I've actually heard Fanatics is trying to do that basically to get everything pushed through because, well, let's be real, what do people chase in football?
Yeah,
it's quarterbacks.
Yeah, dude, Fanatics is like,
they're ruthless and they're smart.
They're mafioso, bro.
Yeah.
Like they will cut you off at the knees. Like some of the stuff I'm seeing, like as far as like, I'm glad we don't have a LCS right now. Like, with some of the restrictions they're putting on as far as getting wax allocations, like right now, like even breaking, like, oh my God, man.
Yeah, they came out and said that basically that you can't, You can't sell business to business. Like, you have to have special like agreements with Fanatics to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and I know, you know, I'm pretty tight with some of the card shop owners in Pittsburgh. Like, we have a lot of really great shop
Oh,
owners.
heck yeah, we do.
And you know, the LCS to me has always been the backbone of the community, but it's like,
Yep.
you know, I think Fanatics is going to do very much so harm to
I
these
agree.
LCS owners. And, you know, I'll be real, if the LCS isn't around, I'm not going to support the company that really drove them out like I would, you know, companies that really want to make it so the shop owners can really, you know, have a good quality of life. Because let's be real, I mean, you know, the margins, I know, I can tell you just from talking to some of these shop owners, the margins are not what they used to be on wax.
Yeah.
Fanatics is going to be making a ton of money. Honestly, I think their plan is to essentially be a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
They're going to do, you know, they're going to be in control of all the braking. They're going to be in control of pretty much everything. And honestly, long-term, I wouldn't be surprised to see them either A, set up their own grading, or B, have like a grading partner with them.
Yeah.
SGC already does the deal with Tops and Bowman.
Yeah.
Not saying there's something there. I have no clue. But it would make sense, wouldn't it?
It would make a lot of sense. Especially if, you know, they're not going to be working with like a PSA. You know, SGC is basically like next in line, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I personally would agree with that too. I like SGC. I don't really use BGS very often, so I really don't have much to say about that. You know I've used them a handful of times, never really been happy, didn't agree with a lot of the grades, and honestly, the year and a half turnaround it took and everything else, I was just not a fan.
Dude, I've gotten like, so with BGS, they give subgrades. I've gotten cards with the exact same subgrades with different overall grades.
Yep.
It's like, how does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge BGS guy myself, but you know, more power to people. I mean, I have some BGS in my collection. I just personally don't submit them.
Yeah, I actually prefer BGS on some slabs. Like anything that, like for example, if you have like a Kobe Bryant rookie refractor that can green, you definitely want to get that in like a BGS or something like that. That's you know, was it RV, not RV, or UV protective, because they have something in the slab that actually protects from light. So it's good to have that. Beckett actually is like one of the most durable slabs as well. So like, you want to make sure your card doesn't get in worse condition. You know what I mean? They use a penny sleeve for crying out loud.
Gotta have the penny sleeve.
That's what I'm saying. So, yeah, man. I appreciate all those takes. We'll be doing this a little bit more often because Chef has a lot more things he wants to share with you guys. Until the next video, God bless you. Take it easy.
I'm from the city.